Welcome back to Insight's review of tech in 2016. Mike Butcher and Rhiannon Williams are with me, casting an eye over the winners and losers in consumer tech over the last 12 months. Let's check on some of the tech business headlines for you now. In June, Microsoft shelled out a whopping $26 billion for LinkedIn, making it the priciest company the tech titan has ever bought. Apple acquired Carpool Karaoke. It emerged as the surprise buyer of the unscripted TV series based on the Carpool Karaoke segment of CBS's The Late Late Show with James Corden. The tech giant's Apple Music service will distribute the series to its members in 100 countries worldwide. Thanks to President-elect Donald Trump, it seemed like Twitter had perhaps never been so important as during the 2016 election. And yet Twitter, as a company, had a tumultuous year. Two-time CEO and co-founder Jack Dorsey has only added 10 million active users to the platform. Since he returned in October 2015, advertisers are becoming more and more disinterested, and top executives, including the chief operating officer Adam Bain, left. Twitter announced that Vine would shut down, but signed deals with major sports leagues, the NFL, MLB, NHL and NBA, in an effort to boost numbers and engagement of users. Facebook had another stellar year. Active users now around 1.8 billion, and live streaming video now showing the biggest growth on that platform. Snapchat, once a takeover target, announced plans for a listing on the US stock market, which valued the company around $20 billion. Should we start with Facebook? It has been an extraordinary year. Do you think Facebook Live is really a thing now?
Facebook Live has proved to be enormously popular with its users. I think Facebook was very smart in taking the concept of something as simple as just live streaming video, but whereas Twitter's Periscope sort of was relatively popular and then has kind of tailed off.
It was a copy, wasn't it? They sort of ripped it off.
It was first, yes, exactly. So Facebook took that idea, just integrated it into their own way, and it's really, really taken off. You see companies and brands falling over themselves to do it. Celebrities are all over it. And as a result, people really enjoy watching them. They're very easy to watch. There's something quite charming about watching something unscripted and just quite intimate with these big stars and stuff. And that's something that people have really latched onto, like millions and millions of users.
Is the whole point of it, Mike, is it is a bit sort of rubbish. It's not like media. It's not like conventional television. It's a little unpolished.
The word is authentic.
Authenticity.
and certainly for celebrities going live from having lunch with their kids or whatever, it's fantastic. But it also showed that Facebook had an incredibly good strategy by integrating live video straight into their platform. And Twitter continues to fall over itself, having these separate applications like Vine, which they had to close, didn't really go anywhere, and Periscope still is a separate app. Sure, it goes straight into Twitter, but Twitter really has got a problem, hasn't managed to smash it out of the park nearly as well as Facebook.
It's interesting, isn't it, because Twitter's become another means of communications in sort of this world of television, journalism, broadcasting. But that alone will not let it survive, will it, do you think?
I think the main advantage that Facebook has over Twitter in this sense is Facebook is a brilliantly passive tool. You can use it, you don't have to necessarily post a lot of statuses or videos to be able to keep a tab on everyone, really, whether it's family, friends, old co-workers. Whether on Twitter, you really get the best out of it by actively engaging on it. And a lot of people will tail off, start tweeting after a few months or so. It's very difficult at that sort of stickiness factor, which Facebook has been so good at, and the fact that most people have had Facebook accounts for almost 10 years now. And
they spend a lot of money on these sports rights. That's a kind of counterintuitive. Don't you go and get a big telly and watch the football game, but watching it on a Twitter thing on your phone?
I think the thing about Twitter's big advantage is it's public. Whereas Facebook can be public and sometimes private. And also, Twitter's perfect for live events, and that's why us as journalists, we love to talk about big public events. The phrase Twitterati exists for a reason. And so live streaming big sports events is perfect for Twitter, and news events. And that was exactly the right thing to do for them.
All right, let's head away now from reality to VR and AR, virtual and augmented reality. Essentially, the deployment of 360-degree video into a variety of headsets that take you to a completely virtual world. Now, we talked about Google a little bit earlier on with their phone. This is the cheap way of doing it, isn't it? Which there are a number of these products exist that just happens to be a Google one, where you literally take your telephone, which can run some video, video, you insert it in this headset, and in this case, it just then, a little elastic band clips it, frowns. I'm not going to actually put it on right now because I haven't got any video in it, but this can then go on your head, and the point is the video responds to as you turn your head around, so you appear to be there. You must have tried some VR experiences. They're getting better, aren't they?
They are getting markedly better. There's a big divide between the sort of smartphone-powered devices, like the Google Daydream View you've got there, and the Samsung Gear VR, and what we call the big three of the sort of dedicated virtual reality platforms. That's HTC Vive, Sony's PlayStation VR, and Oculus Rift, which is now owned by Facebook. And those three are extremely powerful. Both Rift and HTC Vive are powered by incredibly large, sort of ungainly laptops, which are very expensive and quite difficult to run. Whereas PlayStation VR has the massive advantage of the fact you can just plug it straight into an existing PlayStation 4 and it will run. It's also cheaper. And
a great community of people, of users already going. This is going to accelerate, isn't it, Mike? Don't you think this is a real area of potential expansion?
Yeah, the venture capitalists and people who invest in these kinds of things are hugely excited about the potential for virtual reality for games and also for social networking in VR. And for instance, almost like the sort of teleportation where someone can literally be in front of you in the room and you can talk to them as if they're really literally there. And this being able to go to this thing, what they call room scale VR, where you walk around, is transformative. But these things, just past that here, this thing is about snackable content. I feel like doing something in VR, pop it on your head, and now I'm in a different place altogether. And that's really what was special about this. Super easy to do, brilliant for the consumer.
It's very personal, though, isn't it? And you do need to be taken off into that world. Does that limit its appeal, do you think, or its application?
It limits it to some extent, but it does provide a completely new kind of experience. And I think also, if you, for instance, if you watch a movie or a little short movie, small movie, it really does take you into a place where you couldn't, just a normal video wouldn't really do that at all.
3D was a big thing once upon a time. Is VR going to do better than 3D as a sort of consumer proposition, do you think?
In terms of technology, VR has far greater reach and more interesting applications than 3D ever did. But the main barrier is nausea. Lots of people, if they have a VR headset on for too long, will start feeling ill.
They feel poorly.
It's a sort of disconnect between your inner ear and your sort of sense of balance and what your eyes see. And, you know, when it tells your brain certain signals, it confuses it.
There's some fascinating potential, I think, in the worlds of medicine. I mean, one, I don't think it's actually been done yet, but the prospect of a brilliant surgeon in Chicago wearing calipazole gloves in his hands which translate to a robot somewhere else in the world, but he's in a VR space as if he was operating on that patient. I mean, I don't think it's been done yet, but the prospect of that, Mike, is tantalisingly close, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's almost being done to some extent. People were using Skype to go into Aleppo to do surgery in the civil war right now in Syria.
That is all for now. Stay with this programme through 2017 for the clearest view of the future. I'm Martin Stanford. That was Insight.